Alright, what's up YouTube? It's Psychedelic Scizor, and I'm here with kind of an update video for the Little Cup League, as far as some transactions I've made. Transactions, plural. Um, there's kind of been a clusterfuck of these because two teams just dropped out of the league after week one, although I think we're going to be pretty stable from there. And since one of them was the owner, I'm now the owner of the league, so I guess good, yay. I'm doing things. Um, but because those two teams dropped, their Aldermons hit the market for free agency, and people kind of went crazy going for them. Now, as the owner, I kept it from being quite as crazy by setting you'd only get one mon like per team, like so that basically the first person on wasn't able to grab like all three mons, like use all their three free agents and use it to just make their team stacked, and nobody else gets it. Like I wanted everyone like to be able to have a chance to get them. So here's what I was able to get. This was made with two free agencies and then a trade for two mons. So I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can, see if I can remember, because it all happened super fast. First, I picked up Snubble, which is a mon I really wanted. I just didn't want to draft it as early as it was drafted, so it ended up just falling away from me. But this is a monster of a Pokemon. I don't have nicknames for these guys yet, but I'm going to come up with that. But Snubble has a great ability in Intimidate, and Rattled is a little bit niche, but it is. All right, sorry about that. I got distracted by something real quick. I thought there was people coming into my room, and that was just not the case. Sorry. So Rattled is a little more niche in its use, but it is definitely usable. But mostly Intimidate is a good reason to use this, combined with just a monster attack stat in Little Cup with 80. And the bulk, again, could leave more to be desired, but with Intimidate and Eviolite, this thing can be pretty physically bulky. It's got great physical coverage. It can also set up with Bulk Up, which pairs very well with Intimidate. And just great coverage. It's got Fairy Stab, which is very nice. Physical Fairy Stab is even less resisted. It's got Earthquake. It's got fire coverage, Fire Punch. It's got close combat. Um, it's also got Ice Punch. I know somewhere. Yep, Ice Punch. Power Up Punch too, if you want that. And it's also got some interesting support options. It's got Taunt, it's got Thunder Wave, it's got Toxic. Oh, Wild Charge is good coverage too for bulky waters. And, Charm's an option. It's a good physically defensive mon or physically offensive mon. And also with that speed stat, it can abuse sticky webs pretty well. It really likes sticky webs. And also, another thing that I really like being, physically defensive mon and a fairy, this fits very well as a fighting type check because my team is fairly fighting weak. I think after picking up Scraggy for my next mon, I have at least five fighting weaknesses, if not six. I think it's five, yeah, because I was considering making a trade, but I didn't because that would have made it six. Yeah, five out of my um, 12 mons are weak to fighting, and I mean, I have some checks. I have Venipede, 4 times resist fighting, and Slowpoke resist fighting, but I don't always want to bring Venipede because I feel like it's kind of repetitive because it can't really do a lot outside of set spikes and use Poison Jab. It just doesn't have the coverage that Scolipede does, and it's also weak to rocks, which just is never good. And Slowpoke, a lot of the fighting types carry knockoff, and I don't want Slowpoke to be the only answer that I have. Like I want options. Like if my only answer to a fighting type is Slowpoke, they're going to build their team around beating Slowpoke, and it will probably work. So yeah, Snubble, great pickup. I really enjoy this. You're not supposed to have no IVs. You're a fighter. Better. Um, and I ended up dropping. Who did I drop for this? Duskull for this. Yeah, Duskull was really not doing anything for me because it was very fat mon, but it did like no damage and didn't even have a ton of utility. It Will-O-Wisped and it Pain Splitted, but it wasn't doing much. It wasn't the best pickup for me. It was just fat, but it was very passive and was able to be capitalized on. And so next, this was actually made available Scraggy because it was originally drafted by Arctic, but when the teams dropped, Timber was on one of those teams, on Shiv's team, so he ended up dropping Scraggy to pick up Timber, and while I wanted Timber, I didn't get to that. I was still just as happy to pick up Scraggy. Scraggy, just like Scrafty, small form, it has 3 good abilities: Shedskin, Moxie, and another Intimidate user. Intimidate is such a good ability. Although Moxie is better for sweeping. This thing can bulk up or Dragon Dance. It has very good physical coverage. Very good. It's got Dragon coverage, it's got Fighting coverage, Fire coverage. It's got Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, yep, Iron Head knockoff. Like, it's such hard stabs to switch into, Fighting and Dark. It's also got some utility. It's got Roar. It's got Taunt. It's even got Zen Headbutt as coverage, but yeah, this is more just a straight offensive mon, whereas Timber would have been a better pickup because that thing can also be very bulky. But still, this thing isn't totally not bulky. It's got 50 HP and 70 in each defense with a Violet that's boosted. That's nice. It doesn't have the greatest defensive typing, but Intimidate can help patch that up a little bit. And this is more just a good offensive mon for me. It can Dragon Dance up and sweep. It already has gone 3-0 the first week because Arctic brought it and he managed to get 3 kills with it to clean up the game. So I've already got a pretty good mon there, and I'm happy with this. It also appreciates sticky webs. It's not very fast. And I ended up actually dropping Trapinch for this because I needed to keep 2 of my other mons for the trade that I'm about to make, or about to tell you that I made. And Trapinch is a good trapper, and I like it, but it was the only mon that I felt was expendable. Like, it was just a nice little toy to have, but it wasn't an integral part of the team. Like, my team didn't rely on or need Trapinch to trap things, and I would much rather have Diglett as a trapper because of the speed, because Trapinch is so slow, it will never outspeed anything. You have to run it bulky, and especially going last, like anything with a Focus Sash is going to live it, or if I can't OHKO it, I'm going to have to take 2 hits to be able to 2-hit KO something because I'm so slow. So Trapinch is dropped. And finally, this trade I made it for both of these guys as a double trade at once. So when the teams dropped, Tyrunt was available, and Sky, one of the people in the league, wanted Tyrunt but did not have any free agents left because he spammed them all week 1. But I was told that if I picked up Tyrunt, I'd be willing to work out a trade. So what we ended up coming to is I ended up dropping Helioptile to pick up Tyrunt, and then I ended up trading Tyrunt and Magby for Voltorb and Bagon. Well, I would say that in a nutshell, not a nutshell, but like simply put, in most situations, Tyrunt is better than Bagon. It's got better offensive stats. Rock Stab is really nice, but I mentioned I already have such a big fighting weakness. I don't want to add to that any more than I have to, and so that's why Bagon is here. Still a good mon. Rockhead is okay, but mostly Sheer Force is very nice, along with decent coverage. I'm not going to go too into it. It can't run special nearly as well as its evolution Salamence can, though. I suppose you can if you invest into it, but it doesn't run at the best. It's better physical, Dragon Dancer. Yeah, I just made my team a whole lot more offensive, though, which was very nice. And I would say I also upgrade my Volt Switcher because Voltorb is one of only 3 mons that can hit 20 speed. The only other 2 in Little Cup being Elekid and Diglett, both of which are drafted, but both of which Voltorb has a terrible matchup against anyway. So Voltorb is a little faster. It hits the same special attack. Like I checked here, it's when you boost this goes up to 20, and it hits the same special attack that Helioptile did, so I'm not losing anything power-wise. I'm losing the water immunity, but it's not like that thing was a defensive switch in that much anyway. And with the speed this thing provides, it's going to provide a lot more pressure than Helioptile did. And again, not the greatest coverage. because Electro definitely doesn't. But mostly with your electric types, you're going to be clicking Volt Switch like 75% of the time anyway. And I'm just going to add Gyro Ball is like the worst move like to put on this mon. It makes sense because it's a ball, but like this thing's so fast. But yeah, I was very glad I was able to pick up Voltorb. Voltorb was really, really nice. Just that speed, man. My team really struggles with speed. And I did drop my other fast mon. I did drop Magby. Well, not drop it, but traded it. And I didn't exactly want to, but I feel like I have ways of breaking steel types anyway without Magby. And that was the mon that I needed to get him to give up Voltorb, which was really, for me, the prize of this deal. Honestly, I was willing to do just a straight up 1-for-1 Tyrant for Voltorb, but he didn't want to do that, so I needed basically to throw in Magby there to give him some speed to be willing to even give up Voltorb. And Soundproof is also a good ability. It's got niche uses, but it's definitely got uses. And yeah, my draft just got better in my opinion. I picked up a lot more offensive threats. I picked up a little bit more bulk in some senses. Oh yeah, I also like the Bagon pickup because it's another electric resist. Because my team is fairly weak to electric, at least my defensive core. Volibee and Slowpoke are weak to it. I mean, really, those are the main ones. Those are two mons I'm going to use defensively, fairly common, and that's put a lot of pressure on Lileep to be an electric resist, and Lileep can be a little passive sometimes, and I don't want to have to bring in every time they have electric type. Bagon can get the job done too. Alright, well, I am going to do another recording after this, and if you liked what you saw, make sure you like, subscribe, share, do whatever it is you do with YouTube videos, and I am going to get out of here and see you guys later.